What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski and Nate Bailey back again with a very special edition of the recap show. Not only are we going to talk about all of the conference championships that went down over the last 2 days, but we are doing this while the committee is revealing the college football playoff bracket. So, not too much to talk about today, Nate. How are you doing? You excited for the bracket?
I am so excited for the bracket. Past couple days, certainly some chaos ensued, but overall an exciting weekend of college football. Not the greatest betting record. I mean, it certainly could have been worse. If I'm checking here, I think I went in total 8-10. So it's not horrible. It's what you're going to get championship weekend. A lot of things happen that we don't necessarily expect. But overall, an exciting last couple of days here of football for sure.
Absolutely. I was in line to have a nice weekend, a profitable weekend. There's not a ton of games, so there's only so much you can do. And then I bet Ohio State at the 11th hour. It was after the kickoff time because, they draw these things out. But that was an L for me. I went against the model. It showed a little bit of value on Indiana. Generally, when I do that, take some L's, and I certainly did there. So that was the biggest one for me. But there's obviously a lot to talk about, and a lot of it is off the field. First and foremost, the committee tied their hands. They're going to have to make a really tough decision today. It basically comes down to who do you disappoint between Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. I don't know what they're going to do. Do you have any feel on that before we dive into the recaps and eventually get this bracket?
So I was thinking about this a lot since last night. What I think they're really going to do is I do think Bama is going to probably get in. I think the only way they don't get in, and you have to look at this in the coming years, I think they're just going to have to get rid of championship games because you can't tell me they're playing in the SEC championship game and they have to get punished with a loss in the playoff by not being able to get in. That's what I think right now. I definitely was thinking last week with this game, if they end up getting blown out, the doors blown off, in which they kind of did in that game, that they weren't going to be able to get in. But unfortunately, you have to look at the entire body of work. You have to look at the full season. You also just cannot punish people if they end up getting in that championship game. If you start doing that, then I think you have to start getting rid of those championship games.
I have one mini rant. I'm interested to hear what you think. There's no agreement on any of this, but I think everyone agrees on two things. First, no one likes this committee. Everyone wants it gone. Second, we all believe that the rules in place are bad. There's no way that Duke should be in the ACC title game over Miami with 5 losses because of their tiebreaker, so poor decision-making on that front. And then we can't have these 2 G5 teams in at the end of the day. Like having the 5 auto bids has been a disaster. Why don't we just change it today? We're going to change it next week, next year. I know they all operated under this belief or this rule system for the season, but if we're going to change it anyway and everyone thinks it's horrible, change it today. We don't need James Madison and Tulane. I'm sorry to whichever one of those fan bases gets left out, but just change the thing, man. I was saying this before the ACC championship. Yeah, you're playing under a set of rules. They're bad rules. We all know they're bad rules. Just change it today. I mean, am I crazy for that?
Well, here's the thing with that. I think you're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with the Group of 5 product this year either. It's been phenomenal football. It's been fun to watch, but you cannot tell me that Tulane and James Madison are going to compete at a championship level with teams like Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. It's just not going to happen. The only time that we've seen a team in the last couple of decades that probably would have been able to compete were those early 2000s Boise State teams. There's just no way right now you are seeing a team like Tulane or James Madison being able to compete at a national level with these teams as you get through the first round, quarterfinals, semifinals, and beyond for an actual national championship right now. It's just not going to happen. Again, there's nothing wrong with the competition. There's nothing wrong with those teams at all. I just think in terms of the playoff, 12 teams out of over 130 in the FBS, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. The 12 best teams, regardless, need to get in.
You said it best. I love the G5. They didn't play their way in. End of story. And if you want to do the charity case and let one of them in, fine. I don't really care that much. 2 is a disaster. Now, The decision-making thing is one thing. I personally think it should be changed. It's not going to. It's going to change in the future. They're really going to piss someone off. You're either leaving out the ACC entirely, you're punishing Alabama for making their conference championship, or you're leaving out Notre Dame, which may be the biggest fan base in college football. One of them, top 5, definitely on the short list. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. I don't really have the answer right now or a strong feel. Right now, betting markets seem to believe that Notre Dame and Bama are in at the expense of Miami. I don't know. We'll see. But I actually am not sure when we're going to get these games. So I guess probably the best place to start is recapping some of the bigger ones. What do you think?
That sounds good to me.
All right. We'll do that. And then I know you have the games on, or you have the selection show on. As soon as those games start coming through, just interrupt me and we can dive into those. But little bit of a different graphic today because we only have a couple games. So if it looks a little different, that's why. We're going to start with the SEC championship. I didn't actually bet this game because I was holding an Alabama future from the beginning of the year. Also had an A&M, so I was barely robbed of my dream SEC championship. But Georgia gets the win 28-7. They had 100% post-game win expectancy. I'm pretty sure this is the only game of championship weekend that actually finished with 100. There were a couple 99s, but Alabama dead in the waters. And the biggest stat, negative rushing yards for Alabama. Of course, sacks count, but you just can't be an SEC championship football team. And honestly, in my opinion, a college football playoff team with negative rushing yards. I don't care who you play. Negative rushing yards? What'd you see in this game?
Well, I ended up taking the Georgia side at 2.5 at this game.
Smart.
Never a doubt at the beginning of the week when I was looking at this matchup. I think Kirby finally got the monkey off his back when it comes to Alabama. Phenomenal overall performance by the Dogs here. Gunnar Stockton, 3 touchdowns through the air. Also impressed on the ground when he needed to. Dogs did what they had to do. Alabama just came out entirely flat. You know, this is what we're talking about here as we look towards the playoff with this team. Like, if they get in, I'm incredibly concerned with how they're going to perform going forward. Again, like I've been saying the past couple weeks, it's just a team that's been underachieving. Again, negative rush yards, you're absolutely right. You're not going to win any games like that. But impressive performance by Georgia, and definitely some concern on the Alabama side here.
I think the biggest concern is health, which this is the deepest roster in college football. It should not be this bad. For example, like I watched the post-game press conference with DeBoer, and like the first thing he said was not to make excuses, but here's some excuses. We're really hurt. And it's like, yeah, so is everyone else. And you have the deepest roster in college football based on how you recruit and add teams in the transfer portal. But it definitely popped up on the field. We saw the punt block in this game that basically gave Georgia a score. The guy that gave up the punt block, the missed assignment, was where LT Overton normally plays. He wasn't in this game. You also have an interception that was on a tip pass. That was a touchdown for Georgia on the subsequent drive off the turnover. And when you can't generate any offense, if you have 2 negative plays like that, you're dead. And that's exactly what we saw. Like, Alabama only had 1 penalty in this game. It was just literally like the couple errors that they made that really cost them. There were a few other things, and I think part of that was the injuries. There were some miscommunications. There was one play in the second half where I think this is probably the fact you don't have Jam Miller. Ty Simpson turned to hand the ball off. The running back was on the other side of him, and then Ty Simpson just took a knee. And there were a couple of those plays. The offensive line definitely had Ty Simpson under pressure a lot. He ended up taking 3 sacks on 15 pressures. That was having Brailsford playing through the injury, having Cam Dewberry miss the game, and then having Geno Vandemark get hurt in the game definitely hurt them. And the last thing that really cost them, 6 drops. 24% of Ty Simpson's on-target passes were dropped. And it wasn't one player. Basically, everyone who started an offense had a drop. You just can't have that. But the excuse of injuries doesn't make a lot of sense to me because Georgia also didn't have their starting center, Drew Bobo. They started a freshman there. And they play with other offensive linemen like Ernest Green, who've been hurt all year. So do you think now that Bama has some time off, getting healthier is really going to help them? Because I kind of don't see it, man. I think it's more coaching. I
mean, for me, this entire year has come down to coaching on the Bama side. I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt them if they have some time off here. They should have almost 3 weeks to get right and get healthy here. So, I mean, it'll certainly help, but I mean, I think it's so much deeper than just an injury thing right now. I think their coaching staff does have some concern that lies there. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to get healthy, but I still think it's going to be the same looking product that we've seen this entire year from Bama.
Jam Miller to me is not a difference maker. They couldn't run the ball when he was in there. So I think the lack of a run game has hurt them. The offensive line is definitely hurting them at this point. We'll see. It's going to depend on the draw in the playoffs. Georgia's
one other thing.
Go ahead.
No Ryan Williams still. 2 catches for 33 yards.
I thought he was good when he had the ball in his hand. I think it was mainly like a pressure thing. And one of them was a screen. He wasn't actually winning downfield. So I don't know.
They're just not getting him touches. Another week. He only played, I think he played, 40% of the snaps last week against Auburn?
Yes, it was. I think he had 32 snaps. I don't know how many they played. Let me pull up the snap counts for this game. I'll take a look and see how many he was on the field for.
Right now on the selection show, the first 8 out of 11 minutes has just been Alabama, by the way.
Just like, are they in or out?
They've just been talking about Alabama the entire time.
Williams was up to 75% of the snaps, 75-ish, 42 of 57.
For this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely played more this week. He just didn't get the ball.
I like Ryan Grubb, man. I don't think he's a good OC. But anyway,
no, you know what? They were talking about that this year being a real difference maker for Alabama.
Why?
Since him and DeBoer back in.
NFL.
Yeah.
And the only time he was good, he had 4 NFL receivers, because Bernard was the 4th receiver on that team, and Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's turn this to Georgia. I've liked Georgia the entire season. I thought the Georgia Tech game was more like cowardice and vanilla game planning on the part of like Mike Bobo, not really utilizing their best weapons on offense, which I guess is a concern moving forward. But that was kind of alleviated in this game. We saw a lot of Nate Frazier. He had an excellent game. It was a great game from Stockton, too. They didn't ask him to do a ton, but when they did, he performed. Branch played well enough, and their defense really stood up and generated a lot of pressure, which they hadn't been doing all year. I think Georgia's like to win it, man. I might be we'll see what the prices are on futures and stuff when we get the bracket, but I'm interested in a Georgia future. What do you think on the Bulldogs?
All my Indiana fans that are some good buddies of mine are going to think differently, but yesterday, that Georgia performance, they looked like the best team in the country. I mean, that's a game where you just absolutely shut the door on still a good, maybe not great Alabama team, but I'm definitely going to look towards some Georgia futures here. I think they look phenomenal. I think they've caught their stride just at the right time. They're not riddled with injuries like Alabama is right now, aside from a couple linemen here and there, but I like Georgia a lot.
Me too. And like, it's going to come down to price. I don't want to come out here and say like, I think Georgia's the favorite to win the title or anything. I think they have a good chance
right now. I think they're third. Ohio State's actually still a favorite in most markets when I was looking this morning.
I think that is the right move, especially because of they played well in the last game. You want to just pivot over there while we're jumping to Ohio State?
Yeah.
All right. So that game finished with a 56% post-game win expectancy in favor of Ohio State. They lost the game by 3. And a couple weird things that happened in the game. Of course, Sand throws the interception on his own 29, which was an immediate Indiana field goal. That was a tip pass. Now, the pass wasn't on target, but tipping it up in the air is never a good thing. Mendoza kind of also had an interception in his own territory, so he gave one right back. The big thing was like the missed field goals in this game. Both teams did miss a field goal, and the play that loomed larger than anything else was the Ohio State 4th and 1 in the second half that they missed. They turned it over on downs at the Indiana 5-yard line. They could have either kicked a field goal or, I mean, I won't say the play design was bad, but you convert that, it's obviously a different game. So Ohio State comes out with the 56% post-game win expectancy because of those things. But I also don't want to take anything away from Indiana, especially Mendoza had an excellent game outside of the interception. My biggest thing there is I'm not sure why they didn't throw more. He was balling. What'd you see here?
Well, here's the thing. I know Indiana won this game. I'm looking at from a motivation standpoint right now. Indiana, they just flat out beat Ohio State yesterday. Yes, kickers got to make field goals when they need to step up. There's no question about that, right? You cannot tell me the effort and intensity that was given by Ohio State yesterday was the exact same that we saw a week ago at the big house. There's just no way. The entire game, they looked flat. They looked like they had no sense of urgency. Fourth and 1 play call was bad. Defense looked like they were asleep half the time. I know it was a low-scoring game, but it's like you got to shut the door on this Indiana team. Those receivers should not have gotten as much separation as they did against the elite corners of Ohio State. Same with the Buckeyes on offense. Those receivers should have been getting loose the entire game. Jeremiah Smith was the only one that came to play on the offense for them, it seemed like. So concerning effort. Indiana got the win. I will take this L on Mendoza and the Hoosiers right now. But from a motivation perspective, again, they just looked flat yesterday, dude. They just looked so flat.
I don't really understand it. Jeremiah Smith finished with 8 catches, 144 yards. He balled. And D'Angelo Pons, for as good as he is for Indiana, he's a short corner. He's like 5'9". That's with your twin towers, Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, they should be attacking that. And the other thing I don't really understand is they played 12 personnel the whole game. You can't, you have Mylan Grimm, you have Brandon Enos, you have 5 stars everywhere at receiver. You can't tell me Ohio transfer blocking tight end Will Kasmerick needs to be on the field this much. When your best advantage is playing over those Indiana tiny corners, like what are we doing?
So saying through the ball 29 times, I think against this Indiana defense, you got to be in the 40s. I think you just have to.
He's your Heisman quarterback. Like people were talking about this game is going to decide the Heisman. And it probably did. Mendoza's the favorite now, but my goodness. Plus, Omar Cooper got hurt in this game. So you're having Charlie Becker beat you. That final play of not the final play of the game, but the one that basically was the nail in the coffin for Ohio State. It's just Becker winning essentially on a go route. They also had Bray Lynch get hurt in this game. He's one of their guards. Indiana had to bench Zen Mikowski, their right tackle. Now, one of the other problems is coming into the game, the only real concern I had with Ohio State's offense was Tegrish Bola, their guard. He played so bad they had to bench him in the game. Sayan took 5 sacks on 11 pressures. It was probably the worst pressure to sack ratio he's had all season. He held on the ball for way too long. That's really the only problem I had with the offense, other than some of the play calling. But I don't know. I'm not selling Ohio State stock. Are you?
No way. I think this is. I think this is another case where it lights a fire in them, and they come out and make a run again in the playoff. I really do. I think if we see a rematch with this in the championship, which right now I really would not hate, I think we're going to see a whole different story, though. I do.
And Indiana's live. I didn't think they were. And I was someone that had Indiana ranked a lot higher than the industry coming into the season. I didn't think they could hang with this team. Now, I don't think they win it all, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did, given that they just played well and hung with the best team in the country and ended up getting out a gritty win. Any disagreement there?
No, and with that, I think with them probably being the 1 seed now, I think they're probably going to get a pretty good draw. Because it looks like with what the bracket was projected at last night, they're probably going to get Texas Tech at a 4 seed, with them being the 1. And you're going to have Ohio State.
That's Georgia the second round draw, right?
That would be that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If we're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, I think you're going to get Indiana. I think you'll get Georgia. I think Ohio State, then Texas Tech run out the top 4.
See, that's kind of hard. I don't think they win it all, but I wouldn't be shocked.
No.
Again, injuries with this team, watch them. Omar Cooper, Bray Lynch, they don't have the depth. I mean, maybe they do. Becker coming in and playing well at receiver. Maybe Cignetti's just that good of a talent developer because these guys aren't coming from 5-star backgrounds like everyone at Ohio State is. So anything else here before we turn the page?
And, that's another good point, man. You got to give it to Cignetti. From a pure talent perspective, Ohio State wins on paper. It's just been a phenomenal coaching job this year.
Oh, he's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. I forget which game I put next, either the ACC or the Big 12. Clearly didn't want to talk about either. Big 12. All right. This one's a little more fun because we've been betting Texas Tech all year. I think the only game that Texas Tech didn't cover when I bet them was when they had their backup quarterback. I don't know why I was so confident in Will Hammond against Arizona State. But anyway, as far as this game goes, Texas Tech dominates and covers the spread easily. But Bear Bachmeier did sprain his ankle immediately in the game. And props to this guy. He's an absolute warrior. He played through it, but his best skill whether it's actually scrambling or just buying more time in the pocket, it's his legs. And you took that away from him. Turn him into a pocket passer. They finished with 4 turnovers. Bachmeier was responsible for 3 of them, kind of only 2, because the fumble that he had was a missed block where I believe it was AJ Holmes was just in the backfield at the blink of an eye, and Bachmeier didn't even see him, so he just fumbles there. But yeah, 4 turnovers. They also messed up a fake punt. All that gave Texas Tech short fields. Texas Tech did their normal thing. They tried to kick 6 field goals in the game. They missed 2 of them as well. I'm happy Texas Tech dominated this game, but I think it says more about BYU not being playoff caliber than it does Texas Tech being downright dominant. What do you think with this game?
Well, this was actually my favorite play of the week when we looked at the schedule for Championship Saturday. I played Texas Tech at 9.5 and then also at 11.5. So I was happy with this result. I also was right in my prediction of this being pretty much the same looking game that we saw last time. Last time being 29-7, this one being a 34-7 result. Baron Morton, probably the healthiest game that he's had since his injury. They said with practice this week, this is the first week that he wasn't wearing a boot during practice, so that's a good sign. One concern about Texas Tech, still lacks success in the red zone. I think if you're going to be a legit contender here, they need to start cleaning that up a little bit better still. And obviously you can't miss field goals, but overall dominant performance. You still tip your hat to BYU. Obviously they're not a playoff caliber team right now, but it's still been a solid year. Sitake's a phenomenal coach. I know we had some people looking at him for potential better jobs this year. Not that BYU is not a good job, but if we're looking at the Penn States, LSU's of the world, I think he definitely deserves one in the future here. But no, phenomenal job by BYU this year. Just an overall dominant performance by Texas Tech.
Yeah, Sitake's definitely deserving of a better. I bet the under on BYU's win total. I thought they were going to be horrible, and Sitake continually coaches them up. I'm not sure if he'll leave. This is his alma mater, and now that Crumble Cookie's in the mix, they're spending just as much money as about any team in the Big 12, with the exception of Texas Tech. BYU is a sneaky, loaded program money-wise. They got a little mini war chest there that people might not know about. But to your point on the red zone stuff, I think it comes down to 3 things. Drops have been a problem for Texas Tech all year. They had another 2 in this game. Penalties, they had 3 false starts in the first quarter, 2 of them in the red zone. Obviously, you're kicking field goals on those drives where you're going backwards. And when he's under pressure, Morton does take a lot of sacks.
Bracket's coming out now.
Okay.
They're going to start doing it.
I'll finish the sack thing. He took another couple in this game. He took 5 on 9 pressures in the first game. That'll cost them here. But what do we have for the playoffs so far?
I think they're going to go backwards to forwards, I think.
Okay.
Sure. Oh, no, they're doing top. Yep. So Indiana's the one.
So they're not giving us any matchups. They're just talking about who gets the buys.
Yep, the buys are first, which I think that makes sense. They're gonna cliff hang these last couple seeds. I think
they're gonna cliff hang. Yeah, especially 10.
Well, Indiana's fine at 1. I think that's what everyone expected. I actually am interested to see what they do at 2 and 3, though. I mean, because I would assume Georgia gets the 2, but they might do the thing where they just keep Ohio State. They might just flip Indiana and Ohio State.
I have no problem either way. Whatever.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
So Georgia's got the 1 loss to Bama, and then Ohio State, obviously, the 1 loss to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Only undefeated team left, too. Ohio State got the 2.
Okay, so damn. Really rewarding those easy Big Ten schedules.
Yep. If we did get a Georgia-Ohio State semi, that's a phenomenal matchup right there.
I want to see it. I would take Georgia in the game.
Yeah. Phenomenal matchup. So we're there
right.
2. Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts on Texas Tech?
I'm worried about their offense, man.
I am.
I don't think this team is live to win.
No. Their defense has been solid, though. I mean, I think one thing, I know he's got a lot of media coverage this year, but J-Rod's been phenomenal.
Hell yeah. Won the butt kiss.
Ben
Roberts had 2 interceptions.
Yeah. He's everywhere. He's all over the field.
I love the defense. And defense, unless you're like, what was it, the 2016 Denver Broncos or something, the one with Von Miller, unless your defense is that good, you can't win a playoff format like this. It's just too volatile. If you have a game where you don't get the turnovers, your offense, Texas Tech, could really limit you, and you're going to end up dropping a game. So I'm
They
not
gave Georgia
interested in
3.
Tech futures. Sorry?
They gave Georgia 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tech's the 4, right? Gotta be.
They're gonna be the 4, yeah.
Then that's where things
I
get
predicted
interesting.
that they were gonna get that bye last.
You were on it. I was skeptical, and I was wrong.
They needed some things to happen for sure.
So who do you think's the 5? Oregon?
I was thinking it's Oregon. Yeah. I think they'll get the 5. They've been playing better. They've been the 5th best team in the country the last 4 weeks.
I guess we'll find out. I'm just going to turn the slide, but keep interrupting me as they come out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the game that's really going to open everything up for the G5 was this Duke-Virginia game where Duke wins in OT. A rightful win, 62% post-game win expectancy, but I mean, this was a classic ACC game. You never know what you're going to get with these outcomes. I didn't bet it for that reason, just pure cowardice on my part. I showed a little value on Duke, but having seen Duke, I bet Duke like 6 times this year. I think I'm like 2-4. I bet them against like Tulane. They have like 5 turnovers, and they managed to escape this game with 1 turnover. It was a horrible turnover too. Like that Darian Mensah interception was horrendous. But luckily, Chandler Morris outdid him. I don't know why Virginia ran that stupid trick play in overtime. That was the interception, cost them the game. But yeah, another weird outcome. Virginia is obviously out of the playoff. I've been seeing Duke got some votes in the AP. They're like a 99% chance out unless something crazy happens in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the biggest story is the fact that this just opens the door for double G5. What do you think about this game?
You know what's crazy about this game right here? If the playoff was the same as it was last year, an 8-5 Duke would be in the playoffs, guaranteed.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
They just change the rules every single year anyway because they mess something up. Last year, they messed up so bad that Boise State got a bye. You messed up this year with 2G5. Change it ahead of time.
Well, you know, the thing, I actually had the Duke money line side of this game, so I was happy. I bet that just purely by how erratic this conference has been this year, and I was just kind of throwing it out there and seeing what we're going to get, you know? So sometimes you're on the right side of those, which was good in this case. Yeah, Oregon's the 5, by the way.
All right.
5. But I just haven't trusted Virginia all year. They've looked great sometimes. They've looked the worst sometimes. I mean, I haven't trusted them all year. I've not really trusted any of the ACC all year. So this isn't a conference I really want to see playing playoff football here going forward at all. I think the only way that we were going to see Duke is if they were going to jump a team like James Madison, but they're not going to be able to do that with where the rankings stand right now. But just a purely erratic. I mean, it was a good finish. The overtime was fun to watch, but just this game kind of summed up what this conference has been as a whole this full season.
What about Miami? Would you want to watch them? Let's say like at the expense of James Madison.
I know some people wouldn't. I mean, they've been a fun team. They're one of the top 12 teams in the country right now, hands down. I don't know if we're going to see it, but I would like to watch them play for sure.
I agree. I like Miami.
Yeah.
I bet them every single year and lose every single year.
The thing is it's like Cristobal. He was Cristobal again this year, man. He's losing games that he shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, SMU and Louisville. The Louisville game was very damning.
Louisville's horrible. They've been horrible the last month too.
Yeah, that loss is
horrible.
It's gotten
We got
worse.
Ole Miss 6 and we got A&M 7.
Okay. I'm going to run these through the model too as we get the matchups just to kind of get a first glimpse. Especially the teams that played yesterday. I don't have all of the injuries filtered into the model yet, but I have every other bowl team filtered in there. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
A&M at 7 is interesting.
Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think it's – I mean, I don't know. I kind of would still keep them ahead of Ole Miss.
They have 1 loss.
Yeah,
I think they should be higher.
I would flip A&M and Ole Miss. And we got
okay,
Oklahoma
can you read me the seedings we have so far? Sorry, I'm a little behind.
No, that's okay. We have Indiana 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3. We have Texas Tech 4. We have Oregon 5. We have Ole Miss 6. We have A&M 7, Oklahoma 8.
Ole Miss, then Texas A&M, then
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's 8?
I think I figured they were going to do something like that.
Holy smokes. Okay, so do we have any matchups yet?
No, I think this is the first one it's about to be right now.
So some of these teams have to play each other, right?
They'll have to, yeah. An A&M Ohio State quarterfinal is very interesting. It's very interesting.
I like A&M, man.
You like him in that game?
Kinda. I'm setting up the back end of the model so we can get some early spreads. On some of these games. But
do you think there's a way or there's a world where Ohio State's a dog in that?
No, they'll be at home, right?
Quarterfinals, it'll be a bowl.
No, those are the first round's at home.
Bama.
At what?
9. Oklahoma, Alabama rematch. That's awesome.
Okay, so Oklahoma
I like Alabama
draws Alabama now.
Mm-hmm. Now is it Notre Dame or Miami? That's the question.
I don't know, man. I think it's got to be Notre Dame, but Miami is a head-to-head.
They do. You're gonna get an A&M Notre Dame. Oh, well, they're still showing Alabama.
What seed is Alabama?
They are. Hold on. They're at 9. They're playing Oklahoma.
Wow. But I guess you're putting the G5s.
But you know what? Like I said, you can't punish people for playing in that championship game. You just can't. As bad as they looked. Yeah, you can't. I think that was a good job, set precedent for the committee right there. I think that was great.
Well, yeah, they can't ruin their own product.
Mm-hmm. That was great.
I wish they would just tell us instead of drawing this.
They're gonna cliffhang this because once we know the 10, we know who else is in.
Right. I just want these matchups. I want to run them through.
You're gonna get a couple. You might get a couple rematches here, which is interesting.
I'm going to throw us to the AAC championship. We can talk about this game while we're waiting for the other teams. Tulane beat North Texas 34-21, but they only had a 53% post-game win expectancy. There's always a little noise in post-game win expectancy. Part of it is
Miami.
Miami got in? No way.
No way.
Notre Dame's out.
They did it. Wow. No way.
I get it. Head to head.
I bet that was deliberated forever, dude. It had to be deliberated forever. No way. Yep. This North Texas game was disappointing because I was on North Texas side.
So North Texas had 5 turnovers. Mm-hmm. They actually moved the ball a lot better than Tulane in this game. But part of that is Tulane was fortunate enough to be playing with a lead. So they really didn't open things up, which is why this post-game win expectancy sometimes has a little bit of noise because it doesn't know that you're actively trying to just slam the ball into your O-line and punt because you're winning by so much. All you're trying to do is kill clock. So sometimes it favors the team that's in negative game script trying to play from behind. But the real problem in the game was just the turnovers. Probably the worst game Estimakers played all year. It was rainy, so I get that. He did throw a pick 6. He also threw an interception on the Tulane 2-yard line. He threw a third interception on the Tulane 6. If you swing all those plays, that's about 21 points. So that's how you get a post-game win expectancy so close as well. They also muffed a punt. I mean, this was the worst possible outcome in this game for North Texas. Everything that could have went wrong at the same time. The big underlying thing that was the problem with them, 17 pressures. They took a lot of sacks, 5 of them. So Tulane played a great game. I think they're dead, whoever they play in this first round, but it's going to be kind of a fun story. But congrats to whoever draws Tulane. It's going to be a nice game for them compared to what other teams are playing in the first round.
You know, that punt was weird too because it was debated that it could have been a penalty too because he kind of he got pushed into him and then there was another fumble there. So, I mean, it was a combination of miscommunication and just a weird rule overall. But you can't make that one play make or break your game. But, I mean, a lot of turnovers by North Texas was not great. Probably Mestimaker's worst game of the year, even though he's been sensational this entire season. I think it's been a fun story for North Texas. I think Morris has done a great job there. I think he's going to do well at Oklahoma State. Tulane just came out. They were the better team. They were. But again, I'm kind of on the same boat with you. Whoever they get, it's gonna be an easy first round game for that favorite. There's no question. But Tulane just been consistently good these past few years, and I mean they're gonna get in right now. They're the 11 playing Ole Miss, but Yeah, I don't see the Rebels having an issue with them at all. It might be a high-scoring game. Might be. I would look to an over for that, depending on what the line is.
Yeah, we might get some on the stream here.
Yeah, because they're going to come out early. They're going to put them out as quickly as they can.
I don't know, man. So Notre Dame is out.
Notre Dame's out. Tulane's your 11th. I would assume JMU is going to be your 12th. Unless they do something crazy.
They just got to change this today.
Yeah.
You can't have James Madison in over Notre Dame.
No.
You can't.
And JMU's in, yep.
Okay.
There's your bracket.
JMU takes on Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Tulane plays Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Wow, that's a fun game. Miami plays A&M.
I think that's gonna be a shootout though. That's gonna be a high-scoring game.
Miami plays A&M.
Miami's playing A&M, and then
Oklahoma,
Oklahoma rematch.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Wow, I can't believe. I mean, again, the head-to-head is very fair. I just can't believe they did that. Notre Dame was ahead of them for the last month, even longer.
So there's a lot of problems with the committee. The main one is that we don't know how they're making decisions and they're whimsical. Like this, for example, you can't just change the rankings with no evidence to suggest otherwise. Like these teams didn't play and then they just changed it.
Yeah.
It literally makes no sense.
So Notre Dame is now officially the first team out.
Yeah, that's excuse me. That's
BYU's second. BYU, that makes sense.
Okay, so we have home sites. So, sorry, I'm a little delayed on this. I'm trying to run everything through. Get some preliminaries. Yeah, it's got Oregon double-digit favorite. Ole Miss double-digit favorite.
Yep.
Has Miami as a very slight favorite over Texas A&M.
Really?
And then it has Bama favored by a half a point.
Yeah. Bama, Oklahoma being a pick 'em makes sense.
Yeah, it's Bama minus 0.7, Miami minus 5.8. You got to look at this and see injuries, of course. Yeah. Ole Miss, you double digit there. And then Oregon's up at 15.
That makes sense. I bet if that line starts somewhere around there, that's going to get bet up to probably almost 20.
Golly, man. It should be 20, shouldn't it?
I would say like 20 and 19 and a half, 20 and a half. Both those G5 matchups should be around there.
I don't know. I'm just kind of upset.
It's crazy. No, I'm right. I'm honestly right there with you, man. Again, I think if there's reasoning purely based on head-to-head, I think there's some fairness there. But I think Notre Dame I think they're the better team than Miami right now. I really do.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's
their resume. They've done absolutely everything that they can. Miami has lost worse games than Notre Dame's lost.
And their game was single digits. Mm-hmm. I'm going to check this on the back end. I forget what the post-game win expectancy was. All right, the model's set. Now I can actually talk a little bit more. Miami had a 51% post-game win expectancy against Notre Dame. So it's dead even. Yards per play, Notre Dame outgained them 5.5 to 4.9. Notre Dame obviously had the 2 turnovers. Looking back on those, kind of forget what they were. Notre Dame fumbled at their own 22, and then they had an interception at their own 43. I'll have to go back and watch those, but yeah.
In CJ Carr's first game too.
That's true.
It was his first game.
That's true.
He's gotten so much better this year.
What a mess this is, man. What a mess. I guess.
So I raise this question now because I know we might not even see a change next year. Is 14 the right thing to do next year, you think?
Teams?
Yeah.
They're going to expand. I don't know if they might do 16.
I don't hate 16. Everyone plays a first-round game.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. I always live by more football's better. The problem I have is just like this auto qualifier stuff is a joke.
Yeah.
I guess we have to talk about James Madison.
You should. Yeah.
They murdered Troy. I mean, Troy should not have been in the Sun Belt Championship. This is the only conference that still does divisions. Talk about bad decision making. That's another one. Troy had negative rushing yards, similar to Bama. They lost their quarterback in the game, Goose Crowder. James Madison's offense played poorly to begin the game. It was really just one explosive run, and it's their defense that kind of got them to the finish line here. It was a tough game against Troy's defense, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Tulane. This is just a limited offense. They're not a playoff caliber offense. Their defense might be able to keep them in the game for a little bit, but like this is just a joke. I like Alonzo Barnett. He's a good G5 quarterback, but even in this game, he took 3 sacks on 8 pressures and only dropped back 29 times. It's horrendous. The receivers dropped 6 passes. That was 38% of Barnett's on-target passes. This is the team you're putting in the playoff over Notre Dame? Are you serious? Like, what are we doing here?
Here's the thing with James Madison. For one, they've been fun to watch this year from a G5 standpoint. They've been very fun. Been a fun team. Every time you turn the TV on, they seem to be scoring against someone, right? Against App State, Coastal. I don't know. It could be anyone. They're putting 70 up on them, right? That's fine. It's not. Again, it's not CFP championship football. There's no question about that. This is a game. If James Madison is worth any salt in the playoff, they would have covered this game in the first half. It was a dogfight pretty much till the fourth quarter until a couple of those turnovers bounced James Madison's way. This was a 22.5-point spread. I didn't take. Sometimes championship games, you get a little more competition from teams. It just embrace a little more motivation going towards games like this. But I wasn't necessarily impressed with them by any means in this game at all.
They've had a couple of these games. I mean, you could run down the schedule with James Madison. First of all, they lost by 14 to a Louisville team who's not anywhere close to the playoff. It wasn't a particularly good game either. And then you look at some of their victories. They beat Georgia State by 7. Georgia State, not Georgia. Beat Louisiana on their backup quarterback by 10. I mean, you can go down the list. They beat Marshall by 12. They beat Washington State by 4. This is the team you're putting in the playoff. Like, isn't the point of the playoff to have the 12 best teams and try to figure out who the best team is?
I mean, is your best win is Washington State.
This isn't Make-A-Wish college football.
Much. No, it's not.
But it basically is Make-A-Wish college football.
And hey, I was okay with the 1 G5 getting in last year. I think that's fine. I don't
like Tulane. Tulane, I have no problem with. Tulane did get murdered by Ole Miss, 45-10, but Tulane beat Duke.
Yep.
Tulane beat Northwestern. Those are 2 bowl teams. Duke just won the ACC. I mean, Tulane, I get putting your highest G5. Maybe they get an upset. They're not going to win anything, but like double G5, James Madison in here, you can't have this.
It's not
can't
good.
have it.
No,
this is bad for the sport. Not to mention, like, now the postseason is so bad. Iowa State and Kansas State aren't playing in bowl games by choice. They're both taking $500K fines to not play in a game. Honestly, the penalty should be bowl ban. If you decline bowls
during a year, yeah,
you can't play in a bowl game next year. Can't be in the playoff. You can't do this. There's just a lot of problems. So,
well, I think with that, I know we were talking a little about that. I think you got to do a couple of things, right? I think you got to find schools for that. I think if there is an NIL contract presented to an athlete, they can't opt out of that bowl either, unless they're a legit NFL prospect where guys opt out for that, which I've understood before. We've seen guys get injured in games when they were top 10 picks, and then they drop all the way down to second and third round. So I get that. But if you're a freshman or a sophomore and you're not going to the league next year, I don't think you should just be able to opt out of a game. It is ruining the quality of the sport significantly.
So it's beyond the injury thing, to your point. A lot of the reason is these kids are planning on entering the transfer portal. So they're talking to other teams. Maybe the other team doesn't want them to play. And then staffs, they have a really hard time this time of year because they need to be scouting the portal and high schoolers, talking to all these kids. They're very busy. So if you're an interim coach and you know your team is dead, your job is dead, you're going to be somewhere else next year, there's not a lot of incentive to play. So there needs to be a couple of things that happen. One, you either need strong negative consequences for missing a bowl game, like your program could be not eligible for bowls next year. Like $500K is not enough. They don't care about that. Or you positively incentivize them with NIL. And I mean, contracts are very different in college football, but In the NFL, for example, if you go on like NFI or something, or you do something stupid and you're suspended, you don't get your contract that week. All this is prorated by the week in the NFL. So, like, if you miss a game for non-injury related stuff, I mean, you're not getting paid that week. So, that should be a part of NIL. It's not going to be because it's so complicated the way they sign these contracts. But my goodness, man, like, you got to figure out something, especially because like they're going to be losing a lot of money if people don't watch these games. Like, bowl sponsors pay a ton of money to be the sponsor of these bowl games. I mean, I don't know.
You know what the situation we might end up with is we might end up just having less bowl games, which no one really wants that.
That is, I think there's too much money at stake to cancel bowls. I could see it restructured, like playoff expansion, stuff like that. I don't think they'll get rid of bowls just because they're so. I mean, Kansas State.
I love bowl season. I always will.
So do I. It's just unfortunate it's gone this direction. But you know, like Kansas State opts out, they're going to put Auburn in. One, it's probably a better team than Kansas State, but two, like, people are still going to watch it. Until people stop watching, it doesn't matter. Bottom line's not hurt. So the only people that really care are the diehards like you and me. But let's do we could quickly talk about the other G5 games and then talk about these games coming up now, because Western Michigan absolutely dismantled Miami, Ohio. That one was never particularly close. Western Michigan was one of our G5 wagons throughout the year. UNLV got murdered by Boise State for the second time. UNLV came into this game with the 130th ranked strength of schedule, so no surprise that they got blasted again. And that's the biggest thing. Like, you play an easy schedule, your path to the championship, it's a lot more reasonable, we'll say that. And then the last one was Kennesaw, Jacksonville State. This was one where the postgame win expectancy was flipped. Jacksonville State was at 58%. They lose to Kennesaw. So anything on any of those games, will just open it up to you.
Yeah, Western Michigan, I took a Western Michigan side, and I also bet a little Jalen Buckley props this weekend, so I was happy with that. He was 2 touchdowns on the ground on Saturday. I think Western Michigan, if we really had to vote Wagon of the Year, I think Western Michigan would be first for me. They've been phenomenal. I think I got to be like 7-1 betting them by now. So they've been fantastic. Phenomenal performance by Western Michigan in this game. If we're looking at Mountain West, one thing to note, Maddox Madsen being back for that game significantly impacted the result. I mean, he was a well-oiled machine with that offense the entire game. They went down. They scored almost every possession. I actually bet an over in this game. It got a little slow there towards the second half, so it was definitely a sweat with that field goal, taking it over there. But overall, great performance. Not to say UNLV's not had a good season. Again, they've had a horrible schedule. Dan Mullen's done a nice job. 10-3, still a great year for them, I think, in his first year coaching. And then from a Kennesaw perspective, that was probably the most exciting game of Friday night, dude, to me. Came down to the final seconds. It was, I mean, that game summed up what that conference was all year. It was just erratic. It was exciting. Teams you wouldn't necessarily think would win are going to pull one out. Kennesaw did at the last minute there, so that was phenomenal. Overall, I mean, the G5 was pretty. It was pretty good football for the most part this weekend for these games. Sometimes you get real duds. I thought the North Texas game was kind of a dud, but I mean, overall, I mean, it was a pretty good display of football that we saw in all these games.
It absolutely was. I love the G5, man. Just when they're playing G5 teams. I mean, I love football at every level. I like watching high school football, man. I love recruiting. I just don't like the massive imbalances, which we're going to get a couple of them. And speaking of which, we can preview some of these games off the cuff, talk about lines and numbers where they should be. Army Navy's next week. I bet Navy already at 4.5.
I will be doing the same. It's come down a little bit.
It's been bouncing. It went down to 4.5, and then it came back up to 5.5. You can shop this and find it, but I'll be on the Naval Academy in America's game. So I'm excited for that one. 2 triple option teams. The pageantry is unmatched. But let's talk about these playoff games a little bit before we jump out of here. I know NFL is going to start in 10 minutes. So the first game is Oregon playing at home against James Madison. And right now, early line on the game for me is 15. I would not be surprised if it's north of this. The spread for James Madison Louisville was 14.5. I think it's probably going to come in at like 17. What do you think on the spread? I mean, I'm really looking to bet an Oregon side here. The biggest thing in that game is going to be injuries. What are your early thoughts on this game? Where do you think the spread comes in? I also have the total at 43.
I think, okay, for one there, I think that spread's probably going to be anywhere from your 17.5 up to probably, I think it might close around 20.5, 21. That's just kind of what I think. At 43, I think that's a game that Oregon could get to themselves. I do. If you look at Oregon's offense, yes, injuries are going to play a big role in this game. Who in the secondary of JMU is guarding a guy like Kenyon Sadiq? It's just not happening. Who is guarding him? He might score 4 touchdowns for them. He very well could. I mean, if this team is healthy, it's not even close matchup wise for this offense against the JMU defense. And I really think that front seven is going to smother them for Oregon on defense. They're going to smother them. It's gonna be a rough game. I really do. I think it's gonna be a blowout. But I think with that total, I do think Oregon could get there themselves, dude. I really could.
The biggest thing with Oregon moving into the playoffs, both their coordinators have been all over the country. They're going to lose them both. Lapoy's going to Cal. I forget where Stein's going. Where's Stein going? Do you remember?
I don't.
Well, he's gone. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's not going to be there next year. Ja'Cory Moore's hurt. Gary Bryant's hurt. Are they back? Obviously, this game is a while from now. Some of the rumors on Ja'Cory Moore's injury are not very good.
Stein's going to Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. I just should have known that. I think he was a Louisville grad.
That's a good hire for them, though.
For sure. Phenomenal hire. But then their offensive line has been hurt for a lot of the year, especially lately. They were gutting through injury in their final game. So, I mean, you have to think Isaiah World's healthier, Alex Harkey's healthier. Harkey was missing games at the end of the year. But quickly to your point on who's covering Kenyon Sadiq, I mean, DJ Barksdale in the slot?
It's just concerning. Man. And that's the thing, too. We talk about injuries. Like, this Oregon team is just loaded with 4 and 5 stars. Second, third line on this offense and that defense. They're just going to be flat out more talented than that JMU roster. They absolutely will.
I don't think there's any question. They did do a decent job against Chris Bell the first time out. When I'm talking about like the only real good team James Madison played. Chris Bell went 4 for 83 and a touchdown on 10 targets. But I don't know. Miller Moss is a worse quarterback than Dante Moore. The offense is really worse across the board, especially that offensive line is infinitely better than Louisville's. Again, model makes this 15-ish, 15 and some change. I think it's going to come in north of 17. I'll be looking to play the Oregon side. Anything else before we move to the second one?
I'm looking at this bracket, man. I think Oregon's got the best draw out of every team that has to play in the first round. Because you're going to play a JMU team, and then you're going to go to Texas Tech. I think that if they get healthy in the right spots, I think that could be a winnable game for them. I do.
Yeah, man, I agree. I do. Trying to find
and then you can set up a possible rematch with Indiana. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Mm-hmm.
That would be sick. All right. The second game on my list, these probably aren't in order, so excuse me, is Ole Miss taking on Tulane. Model in this one also, I mean, these games could be bad, man. Could be bad. We have this 19 with a total of 67. It's going to come in under that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is another game with a spread like around 20. Both these games are probably going to come in around 20. What do you think here?
Because they won by like 30 last time, right? I think it was 30 points was the final score when they played them.
Yeah, this is a rematch. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was 45-10, I think.
I think Vegas is definitely going to do a good job making this very hard to bet. I think this will probably be like a 23.5, 24. I don't know how much they're putting into Kiffin being gone because, again, it's still the same team, and you're going to have most of the same coaching staff. They're still, other than a couple spots.
Charlie Weiss is still there calling plays.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same result. I mean, same kind of situation. Like, this is just a deeper, more talented team. I don't see Tulane matching up well with Ole Miss's offense at all. I think they're going to get the doors blown off. I do.
I take notes on almost every single college football game unless they're like egregious blowouts and there's not really much to be said. I didn't write any details down for this game. In the first contest, both teams had 1 turnover. I mean, Ole Miss averaged 8 yards per play. Per play. It's nearly first down every time they ran a play, man. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss was at 11.4 yards per pass attempt. Kewan Lacey was at 5.7 yards per carry. We just don't have the bodies for this. And the other thing with Tulane, when they're down in games, which they haven't been a lot, but occasionally when they get down, they can't play from behind because Jake Retzlaff's best weapon is his arm. He averaged 3.6 yards per pass in this game. You look at the other time they went down against UTSA, they couldn't crawl their way back into the game. Retzlaff had 4 interceptions in that game. I'm going to be looking to play Ole Miss. I mean,
yeah.
What do you think?
I think
about
an over
total?
would be fun too. I think betting an over would be fun. I think it's a high scoring game still. I think you're going to see like a 55-20 kind of thing.
So we had 55 points in the first game with really, really poor efficiency from Tulane. And I think if you could see that rise even a little bit, it probably is going to come in over a total like that. We make this or at least I make this around 66, 67, which is north of what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can get there, but that's at least worth mentioning. The only thing on a total there, Tulane is not playing fast. They're 93rd in pace. Ole Miss is 18th. I wonder if that rises for the Tulane side or if it falls for Ole Miss in this game. But we'll see. There's not really a lot of injuries for either of these teams. This should be a pretty clean bill of health for both. Ole Miss was basically clean throughout the regular season, and Tulane doesn't have any major ones either. Anything else on this game?
No, I'm excited to see Chambliss ball out in the playoff. He's been one of the best stories in football all year, going from D2 to being a SEC starter. So I'm really looking forward to see how he performs.
I'm trying to pull up a bracket that I could fill out on screen, but it's ESPN.
I think a Georgia Ole Miss second round matchup is also awesome. I mean, aside from the G5, what we have right now, right? I think the draws that you're going to see in the quarterfinals are going to be sensational. I really do.
I'm going to pull up this bracket. Let's see if we can get one on screen. We'll fill it out start to finish. See if we can't get something. All right.
Here we go.
Did that pop up?
Yep.
Nice. Okay, sick. So obviously we picked where are they? Ole Miss.
Yep.
Oregon. Let's go to Bama, Oklahoma. So they'll model as this at minus 0.7 in favor of Bama. Oklahoma is going to be playing at home, right? I'm not wrong on that. Okay, so I don't know, man.
Here's the thing. I think Bama, I'm going to take Bama because I think Bama at 10-4, I've said it before. I think you're going to start having to have conversations. I think this is a game they have to win.
First game, obviously this is a rematch from week 12. Oklahoma won 23-21 with a 5% post-game win expectancy. Alabama lost that game with a 95% post-game win expectancy. Mm-hmm. The yards per play was 4.2 for Oklahoma. They could not move the ball at all. Alabama was at 5.4, also didn't really move the ball that well. But they at least had some success through the air. The problem was Alabama had 3 turnovers in the game. So I'm going to go back and look and see where these were as well. I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was outside of the interceptions. Alabama was actually moving the ball pretty well in this game. So, Ty Simpson threw a pick 6. And they had a field goal blocked. And he got, I'm remembering this now. He got strip sacked. I think that was Wine that got him. But that's the thing. Oklahoma's defense is really good, man. And this, with Alabama's offensive line being in shambles because of injuries, it could be a nice matchup if Oklahoma can return R. Mason Thomas from injury. But even if they can't, like Taylor Wine's been good. Adebawore has been fine. He's been in relief a little bit. What do you think about that? I don't. The more I think about this, the more I'm hesitant in this game.
I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, if I really had to pick one, it's literally a pick 'em. That's what it's probably going to be. Even with Bama going to Norman. So, I mean, I think on a neutral site, I think Bama's probably a very slight favorite. I'm going to take Bama in a rematch.
I can absolutely see
if they can run the ball at all against Oklahoma, I think they can do it. I do.
I think they can too, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just nervous. First of all, I don't think. Okay, what are your, before I spew off some hot takes, thoughts on Mateer?
Well, he's been good. Do we think he is fully healthy now?
I think as healthy as he's going to be. Plus, he's going to have a lot of time,
Yeah.
and it was a hand. So, I mean, the problems with Oklahoma are also injuries. Their O-line has been a mess. You have, I don't know if Keontae Lewis is ever going to play really again. They basically have the FCS transfer, Javonte Gibson playing ahead of him. They don't really have a good run game either. A lot of people criticize Alabama for that. Oklahoma doesn't have a good run game. Justin Mateer is a little more mobile. I think Simpson definitely has a better arm. So you kind of have both offenses being a disaster with Alabama being a little bit better in the pass game. Oklahoma has the defensive edge, but I don't really think it's by that much. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. I make the total at 42.
I think you're going to have – I think someone's going to have to keys to tango the entire game for Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Basically, their whole offense has been a slant to the house. Okay, so we're putting Bama through.
I like Bama in the rematch. I do.
And our last one for the first round is Miami and Texas A&M. This is the one I need to do the most work on because currently it's making it Miami -5, which, goodness gracious, I don't know about that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my thought on A&M. The thing that people – I think everyone's looking is kind of doing a little recency bias with A&M, and it's like they've not looked good. They didn't look good in that Texas game, right? They also have not looked very good weeks prior to that. The South Carolina game was almost a disaster. They were down, I think, 31-3 at one point. They ended up winning that game, but they've not looked good. Miami is catching their stride just at the right time. So, I mean, these teams, I think they match up very well. I'm going to be honest. I kind of like Miami here in the spot.
I'm really surprised by the model because the model's loved Texas A&M all year. And now it's throwing them a little bit of shade. Again, this isn't going to be the final answer. I do this on a player-by-player level, so as injuries come out, it gets more accurate. This is just the first run of it. So we'll see. Neither team should be too injured coming into this game, assuming Marcel Reed's ankle's fine after he got a little banged up in the final. But this is about a month off for him. I don't know. Well, I'm very curious to see what the book's priced it as, but this might be a Miami bet pretty early on. And Miami does have a lot of kind of trump cards that they don't always use. The two edge rushers, Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain, are extremely productive.
Yep.
If Texas A&M is not buttoned up on the offensive line, that's going to be a problem. I expect Marcel Reed to be heated up. But the weakness of the Miami defense is also their secondary. If they can manufacture a pass protection plan long enough, A&M that is, you could see Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion running all over this defense. And then conversely, I think a lot of it's probably just going to come down to Carson Beck's poor decision-making versus removing those from his game. At times, he's throwing interceptions into double coverage that he shouldn't. But A&M, they're going to have their hands full with Malachi Toney. This Miami receiving core is shockingly fierce too. And we've seen Texas A&M, even against like Arch and Texas, lapses. Not many, but occasionally you have one. So that's something to watch. Are we tentatively slotting Miami through?
I think so.
Cool. All right, Miami. So we'll do this one quicker. I don't have any line set up. I'll do this throughout the day. But first up would be Oregon, Texas Tech. I would be on the Ducks in this game. I'd be looking to short Texas Tech.
Yeah, I like Oregon in that a lot.
Indiana, Alabama. This is a tough one, man.
Ooh.
I think a lot of it comes down to health on
I think
Bama.
Indiana by like a field goal.
Me too. Georgia, Ole Miss. This is a fun one, man. First game was an absolute shootout.
I think Ole Miss is kind of, I mean, them off the field is not flown under the radar this year, but this is the team this is kind of, I think, a team that's been flying under the radar a little bit in terms of where they've been ranked all year. I like the Dogs, but it's gonna be a great game, man. I really think so.
So first game was 43-35. Georgia had a 71% post-game win expectancy. This was the game where every single drive had a score until late in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss tripped up. You talk about shootouts. This was the definition of shootout. It was touchdown, 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 touchdown. And then Georgia got the single stop, really, and that's how we got there. So we'll go Bulldogs. Ohio State, Miami. Any upset?
Ohio State.
Yeah, me too. So we have a very chalky final, which I don't really have any problem. And we have 3 Big Ten teams. This might be there's some shade in the comments if you want to, but Indiana, Oregon, we get a rematch here.
My heart wants Oregon. My brain thinks Indiana.
I tend to agree. It's hard to beat the team twice, but chat's going to love you putting your the bane of your existence, Indiana, in the final. We'll see if they get there. Georgia, Ohio State.
Buckeyes.
Rematch. Big Ten championship rematch. Avenge the loss, or Indiana gets it twice?
I'm not gonna say Ohio State slams the door shut. I think it's an entirely different story. Second time around, I do.
I think Ohio State wins too. I think they should have won yesterday.
They should have. Should have.
This is just the first look at the bracket. We'll have more thought out takes throughout the week and, of course, before the playoff. Big announcement. Nate and I are doing a bowl extravaganza show on Wednesday. We're going to go through every single bowl game. It's going to be more for your pick'em style brackets. It's kind of going to be, who do you think wins? What side are you leaning to on the spread? Or what bet do you have if you took one? And then maybe a quick mismatch that a team could potentially exploit in the game. So that'll be the format of the game. Nate, what time are we doing? I forgot already.
12.
We're doing high noon on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Central Time, so 1 p.m. Eastern Time, high noon. Central Time on Wednesday will be the Bowl Extravaganza show. We'll set up the stream. You guys can come in and talk about all of it. We'll also, big thing, we'll focus on opt-outs. And if you have something that you want to see on the screen, like we try to do graphics for this show, graphics for the other ones, we're going to for sure have opt-outs, but if there's a stat you think would be useful, please leave it in the comments, and we'll try to get that up on the graphics. I don't think I have anything else, man. We talked about Navy Army. Do you have anything else?
No.
Playoff-wise, overarching thoughts?
Again, the playoff, that bracket was crazy. I mean, I knew we were going to see some chaos today, but I mean, it is what it is now. They got to just line up and go.
I'm shook, man.
I am too. I'm disappointed. I get why it happened, but I'm disappointed.
Oh, last thing. Who wins the Bear game?
Bears. Give me the Bears. This is as a Bears fan, talking about NFL here, this is the first game. I mean, big win against Philly last week. I think this is the game where we really, truly know what we're going to get from this team this year.
I'm excited. I'm
very excited.
The afternoon window. But, one last thing for YouTube not getting fined. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll be back Wednesday. Until then, thank you all for watching. If you have a comment or a suggestion, please leave it below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Those 2 things help a ton. But otherwise, we'll be back on Wednesday. Until then, good luck, everyone. We will see you later.